Silence, described as the forbearance from speech or noise, described as muteness, often used interjectionally. It is the absence of sound. It is associated with stillness, as in the stillness of the night. It is the absence of mention, meaning to fall into oblivion or obscurity. It is defined as secrecy. Silence is the absence of ambient audible sound, the emission of sounds of such low intensity that they do not draw attention to themselves, or the state of having ceased to produce sounds. This latter sense can be extended to apply to the cessation or absence of any form of communication, whether through speech or any other medium. Silence is an important tool in communication, and discourse analysis show that people use brief silences to mark the boundaries in prosodic units, in turn-taking, or in reactive tokens, such as signs of displeasure, disagreement, embarrassment, desire to think, confusion, and such emotions. Relatively prolonged intervals of silence can be used in ritual. In some religious disciplines, people maintain silence for protracted periods, or even for the rest of their lives, as an ascetic means of spiritual transformation. It is a powerful tool when used as rhetorical silence. This is silence that may become an effective practice when people choose to be silent for a specific purpose. Rhetorical silence cannot be explained because it is the absence of communication when it is not expected. When silence becomes rhetorical, it is intentional, since it reflects a meaning. There are always some meanings, intentions, and goals that cannot be expressed linguistically in words, and there are always voices that cannot rise through the sounds. Rather, they are all reflected through silence. Rhetorical practices have led to the articulation of new types of meanings. It is a form of strategy. It is used as a voice to empower one or a group of people. In this regard, it is a construct used to represent any type of inequality, oppression, or injustice. Silence reflects the voice of resistance. But in some social animals, silent communication conveys the potential for danger by stopping the constant calls and freezing without the use of alarm through utter silence, sending the message. In spirituality, silence in spirituality is often a metaphor for inner stillness. A silent mind, freed from the onslaught of thoughts and thought patterns, is both a goal and an important step in spiritual development. Such inner silence is not about the absence of sound. Instead, it is understood to bring one in contact with the divine, the ultimate reality, or one's own true self, one's divine nature. Many religious traditions imply the importance of being quiet and still in mind and spirit for transformative and an integral spiritual growth to occur. In Christianity, there is the silence of contemplative prayer, such as a centering prayer. In Islam, there are the wisdom writings of the Sufis, who insist on the importance of finding silence within. In Buddhism, the descriptions of silence and allowing the mind to become silent are implied as a feature of spiritual enlightenment. In Hinduism, including the teachings of the teachers insist on the importance of silence for true inner growth. It is said that the only language able to express the whole truth is silence. In some traditions of Quakerism, communal silence is the usual context of worship meetings, with patient expectancy for the divine to speak in the heart and the mind. In Baha'i faith, it is said that the essence of true safety is the observance of silence itself. Inner silence can be seen as the absence of thought, or a space in which all thoughts are perceived. Silence can be either seen as the absence of noise, or as the space in which sound exists, just as inner stillness can be seen as the absence of thought, or the space of which thoughts are all perceived. Silence is used to commemorate. A common way to remember a tragic event, and specifically those victims or casualties, is to observe a moment of commemorative silence. In law, the right to remain silent is legal protection enjoyed by people undergoing police interrogation or trials in certain countries. And in music, it is a powerful tool, as music inherently depends on silence in some form or another to distinguish other periods of sound and allow dynamics, melodies, and rhythms to have a greater impact. Silence is said to be the tool of the assassin, or the calling card of the deadly plague. Silence is perceived as the calm before the storm. Silence can be both peaceful and oppressive, and it is often said that silence can be deafening. How we define and utilize silence, both in speech, religion, and personal growth, defines how humans regard those periods of vibration contrasted by the stillness of the universe.